I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. We are continuing now again with Alma. We are in the story of Alma and Amulek preaching in the city of Ammonihah. We've read their initial words, the people getting mad and angry, trying to throw them into prison, and the lawyers trying to set a trap for them to find something to accuse them of. Now before we read, remember that at this time, the Lamanites have been converted, many of them. The sons of Mosiah have been down there for the last 10 years. And those who have been converted are now going by the name of Anti-Nephi-Lehi instead of Lamanites. And that's all happening. They take on that name at about the same time that Alma is preaching in Ammonihah. So now we turn to chapter 11. Again, we will divide this into two videos. So I will be reading the first 20 verses. Nephite coinage set forth. Amulek contends with Zeezrom. Christ will not save people in their sins. Only those who inherit the kingdom of heaven are saved. All men shall rise in immortality. There is no death after the resurrection. Now it was in the law of Mosiah that every man who was a judge of the law, or those who were appointed to be judges, should receive wages according to the time which they labored to judge those who were brought before them to be judged. Now if a man owed another, and he would not pay that which he did owe, he was complained of to the judge. And the judge executed authority, and sent forth officers that the man should be brought before him. And he judged the man according to the law, and the evidences which were brought against him. And thus the man was compelled to pay that which he owed, or be stripped, or be cast out from among the people as a thief and a robber. And the judge received for his wages according to his time, a senine of gold for a day, or a senum of silver, which is equal to a senine of gold. And this is according to the law which was given. Now these are the names of the different pieces of their gold and of their silver, according to their value. And the names are given by the Nephites, for they did not reckon after the manner of the Jews, who were at Jerusalem. Neither did they measure after the manner of the Jews, but they altered their reckoning and their measure according to the minds and the circumstances of the people in every generation, until the reign of the judges, they having been established by King Mosiah. Now the reckoning is thus: a senine of gold, a sion of gold, a sham of gold, and a limna of gold, a senum of silver, an amnor of silver, an ezrom of silver, and an ontai of silver. A senum of silver was equal to a senine of gold, and either for a measure of barley, and also for a measure of every kind of grain. Now the amount of a sion of gold was twice the value of a senine, and a sham of gold was twice the value of a sion, and a limna of gold was the value of them all. And an amnor of silver was as great as 2 senums, and an ezrom of silver was as great as 4 senums, and an ontai was as great as them all. Now this is the value of the lesser numbers of their reckoning. A shiblon is half of a senum, therefore a shiblon for half a measure of barley. And a shiblum is a half of a shiblon, and a leah is the half of a shiblum. Now this is their number according to their reckoning. Now an anshin of gold is equal to 3 shiblons. Now it was for the sole purpose to get gain, because they received their wages according to their employ. Therefore they did stir up the people to riotings, and all manner of disturbances and wickedness, that they might have more employ, that they might get money according to the suits which were brought before them. Therefore they did stir up the people against Alma and Amulek. One might wonder why we needed to know exactly how the Nephite coinage works. But the purpose of this here is to explain to us so that we have an understanding, so that, as we will read shortly, when Zeezrom attempts to bribe Amulek, we will understand just how much money he was offering. And we got these values here. The gold and silver, or we have the 3 senine, sion, so on. I can't remember all the names right now, but the base coin was the senine of gold and the senum of silver, and they were equal in value. And that was your base. That was kind of like what we would call a dollar. But then everything was divisible by 2. Except the highest one. So the first, you have the senine, the next one is worth 2 senine. That's the sion. And then you have the, I can't remember the names, but it goes up 2, and then the next one's worth double that. So it would be worth 4 C9. The last one says is the value of them all. So if you have 1 C9, 2 C9, and 4 C9, that is 7. The last one is worth 7. At least that's the way I would calculate it. There are other ways that people have thought that what this means, but that's the way I see it. And you have the same thing with silver, the Senum, and then it goes up double, double, and then it's worth them all. Then you also have the lesser coins, which again are divisible by 2. The Shiblon is half of a C9. Shiblum is half of a Sinon, and Alea is half of a Shiblum. The one that is kind of the odd one out there, which I have no idea why they have it, is that Anshin. An Anshin of gold is equal to 3 Shiblons. A Shiblon is a half of a C9, so you're talking 1.5 C9s. It's weird. But you'll also note there that the measurements, just like the language, as Mormon says later, that the language has been altered and changed over the generations so that by the time Mormon is writing, it's unrecognizable to what Lehi would have written. The measurements are the same. The names and even the measurements themselves are different. And they changed every generation. There would be a slight difference in them until Mosiah II. And when he establishes the reign of the judges, he not only sets forth the law as it will work, and we get the interconnection here that he didn't just say, elect yourself judges. He set out how the judges will work. He wrote into the law what their salary will be for doing their work. But he also unified the measurements. He codified how much a C9 was. So by law, a C9 is so much weight of gold or so much weight of silver. It is now codified in the law what each coin has to weigh. It is codified in the law how much a measure of barley is. We now have a unification of measurements for the first time among the Nephites. I find that very interesting. Mosiah was clearly very politically astute. He understood the operations of government to set up this new system. But that will end it for this video. We will finish this chapter. We will read about the contentions between Alma and Amulek and the judges in the next video. So I will see you there.